Feinbaum's done. It's time for us to have some fun. We've got the final third of the SEC season starting tonight, and one of the 3 ranked teams in the conference goes on the road. The Gators visiting the Auburn Tigers on the Plains this evening. And with that, we welcome to courtside Adam Amin, John Sunvold. Chris Button will join us in a moment as well. 2 of the 3 of us have beards. So, Johnny, Florida, South Carolina, Kentucky, 3-way tie right now at the top of the SEC, but the Gators might be the best of the bunch of those 3 right now.
Well, I think they're the most mature. They defend as well. Obviously, South Carolina good defensively, but this team is together. Defensively, they're good. I think this team, this Florida squad, is one of the top 7 to 8 teams in the country.
Okay.
I think they should be a 2 seed right now. They've got them in a 3. I think they'll move their way up. This is an impressive squad. Mike White's done a great job. Offensively, there are times they struggle shooting, but they've been spectacular the last month so far playing. Been fun to watch.
And right now they're on a 6-game win streak, Chris Button. They have really turned things around after a couple of losses.
Oh, they certainly have, Adam, and during that time they've improved in every statistical category. But Mike White told me today that their biggest improvement isn't showing up on the stat sheet. It comes in the column of feelings. Yes, feelings. What he means by that is at the beginning of the season, when he would sub a guy out, he would get his feelings hurt. He'd get all pouty, and then he wouldn't play well when he subbed him back in. He said, now that we have some confidence, I can sub more liberally, their feelings don't get hurt, and he plans to do that today. So in today's Valentine's message, feelings are overrated, Adam.
Glad you tossed it back to your robotic autonomous play-by-play guy and color analyst here. Appreciate it, Chris. We'll join in with Chris multiple times today to get the feel on what's going on tonight between these 2 teams that are meeting in this town for the first time since 2014.
We have an emotional crew and ready to work tonight. Outstanding shot to get it started for Auburn.
D'Angelo Purifoy fouled while he makes the 3-point basket. He'll have a chance to open things up for Auburn in impressive fashion.
And the concern for Mike White is the fact that Auburn's got 6 or 7 guys that can step outside and knock in jump shots. Purifoy off to a good start. He has struggled at times this season, like any of the freshmen will.
The 4th best free throw shooter in the league at 88%. Gives Auburn a 4-0 lead off the Devin Robinson foul. So a quick start for Auburn, and here comes Florida, which, as we mentioned, has won 6 straight since those back-to-back losses against South Carolina and Vanderbilt.
And an interesting matchup. Florida is outstanding. I think Auburn can play with them athletically, but are they mature enough to handle what this Florida team is going to come at?
John Egbunu is out of bounds in the offensive rebound try. Bruce Pearl, 56 years of age in his 3rd season with the Auburn Tigers. He is 0-3 this year and 1-9 overall at Auburn against AP-ranked teams. Auburn has lost 14 of its last 15 against top 15 teams, and tonight Florida checks in as a top 15 team for the first time since 2014. Casey Hill was denied and out of bounds. Meanwhile, Mike White will turn 40 in a couple of weeks. Out to a very solid start. They had a slow start the other day against Texas A&M. They were actually trailing midway through the second half and then stormed back with a big run to take the lead and eventually win. And Canyon Barry knocks it down. He had a dozen in that game.
And if you think about the A&M game, they played zone all night long, all afternoon. And Florida struggled against the zone and the bigger bodies of A&M. We may see quite a bit of zone from this Auburn squad. It was a zone defense that allowed Vanderbilt also to beat this Florida team in Gainesville.
Austin Wiley on the offensive foul gives it back up to Florida. Auburn has struggled defensively. Auburn blew a 23-point second-half lead in Oxford on Saturday. But here they force a turnover. Dunnins the knockaway, and Dunnins with a little showtime at the other end.
Active hands, not as much with the feet, but Dunnins knocked it away from Hill. Casey Hill's got to be better. Did not play well in the A&M game, but has been spectacular against Kentucky.
Had the career-high 21-point performance against Kentucky, had 5 turnovers the other day against Texas A&M. Egbunu with his 2nd turnover.
Off the dribble again, Dunnins didn't move his feet, but quick enough and athletic enough to knock that away and finish on the other end. This Auburn team, you mentioned the hot start and how well they played at Ole Miss, up 23. But then to lose that game, and see how their psyche is, especially early in this game.
Especially for such a young team, including the freshman Wiley, who gets stripped by the grad transfer Barry. Florida with its 5th trip down the floor, and Barry will go to the free throw line for a couple. They've been struggling with turnovers early in this contest, but Barry draws the Purifoy foul.
And I think this is when Canyon Barry is at his best, when he puts it on the floor and makes things happen. If he only becomes a three-point shooter, just a spot-up shooter, I don't think he adds as much offensively as he does when he's aggressive. As you saw the numbers of free throws, he's at 90% as a free throw shooter, the best he's been in his career. Freshman year 74, then 72, then 85. This season 90%. Last 5 games averaged just under 14 points a ball.
School record of consecutive free throws extended to 41. Auburn offensively averages 80 points per game, with mostly freshmen doing the damage. Purifoy is one of them, and he draws a foul. Casey Hill is very upset about that call as he got tagged with his first.
Active hands by Hill. He thought he had a clean one. Not many quicker in college basketball than Casey Hill. Hands, feet, speed.
So Purifoy back to the line. Playing in his 8th game after missing 3 in a row with a sprained left ankle. Now, even bigger minutes it feels like for Purifoy now. Horace Spencer, who had missed the last 3 games with a left shoulder injury, has now been ruled done for the season. He's going to have shoulder surgery on Thursday, so they lost a power forward who gives them important minutes and rebounds.
And Purifoy came back after that ankle, had 5 single-digit scoring games. But now it's picked up. You saw where he had 12 against Ole Miss. He had 14 in the win against Alabama. So picking up his game, and they need him on the offensive end.
Redshirt freshman out of Centerville, Alabama. Kayvon Allen, the team's leading scorer, has checked out for the Florida Gators. Chris Chiozza has checked in. Chiozza's been playing very well the last couple of weeks.
And Chiozza and Hill in together, that is speed. If they can get rebounds, they will push the other end.
Wiley, no. Purifoy with a very difficult circus shot, but his effort and extension and involvement will get him to draw a foul against Florida. Justin Leon will pick up his first.
Auburn is an extremely young team, but extremely athletic. They're aggressive. They attack. Multiple guys that can shoot it and score in different fashion. They'll try to get Wiley involved, the big 7-foot center, early in this game.
Just a few Tuesdays remaining in SEC play. As we said, this is the final third of the season. Next week, John and I will, I'll head there. You'll be there in Columbia, Missouri, as
home game, yes.
The Wildcats will make the trip. And of course, Kentucky in the top 20 right now as well, the latest rankings, and sitting in a 3-way tie with South Carolina and Florida. They take on Tennessee tonight, looking to exact some revenge.
Interesting about the 3 teams we have at the top. 3 distinctly different type teams, right? Kentucky, young, athletic, big power plays with speed and aggressiveness. South Carolina, that tough, physical, defensive team. And then you've got Florida, which is a little bit of a combination of both.
Mustafa Heron picks up his first on the Barry drive. And the SEC is so fascinating. Nobody's going to put it towards the top of college basketball in terms of NCAA tournament teams, as Hill misses one. But the middle of the league is very, very tight as Ekbunu throws down an angry dunk. Here is Purifoy. He's got 8 of the first Auburn 10. Inside to Anthony McLemore. Those two are playing a lot more together now.
Yeah, and McLemore comes in. Wiley goes out, kind of playing the 5-man position.
Quick trigger from Devin Robinson, and he knocks it down.
Good sign for Florida if Robinson shoots the ball well. He can stretch the defense. Well, like I said, we will see Auburn in different types of defenses, man-to-man and zone, but Robinson can shoot zone defenses out quickly.
These are 2 very good 3-point shooting teams, both above 35% collectively. Dunnins putting the moves on Robinson. 4 minutes in, it's an offensive start. There is Chiozza, open foul line.
Good push by Hill. Again, the pressure that Hill and Chiozza can put on a defense. So you better get back And if you're not aware of who you're picking up at the right time, you'll get burned.
Quick trigger from Jared Harper, who has really been struggling shooting the last couple of games. But the 36% three-point specialist knocks it down.
He has had big games, but you mentioned last couple, he's only 3 of 15 from the field, 0 of 6. So good start for Harper.
Purifoy will pick up his second foul. That's a big one because Purifoy has gotten off to a red-hot start today. He has 8 of Auburn's 15 thus far. Auburn, 8.5 three-pointers per game. Only Vanderbilt makes more per contest. They've drained a couple from the outside. Here at home, hosting a top 15 team. Bruce Pearl looking for that rare win against the big boys. So here are the standings for the SEC. As we mentioned, Kentucky, Florida, South Carolina, all sitting at 10 and 2, and then 9 teams are within 2 games of each other. So it gives you a quick sense of how tight and competitive this conference has been. And as we take you around the rest of the league, Kentucky is in action again tonight. They'll take on Tennessee. Kentucky and Florida were the 2 teams that were in the NCAA committee's original top 16 seedings. And Sindarius Thornwell, after he had that impressive performance in a losing effort in that 4 overtime thriller against Alabama, is the SEC Player of the Week.
I think Thornwell is a leading candidate for Player of the Year. He has led his team and put him at the top of the heap, and nobody thought South Carolina would be in the top 2 or 3 in this league start the year off. Thornwell's been a spectacular senior. He's had a great campaign.
So our buddy Seth Davis from Sports Illustrated talk about who he thinks SEC Player of the Year is right now, and he picks Sindarius Thornwell because of how much he does at both ends of the floor for South Carolina, as Barry will head back to the line off the McLemore foul.
I would think Monk and Fox somewhat cancel each other out. I think Fox is a special player, obviously. And Monk has had a terrific season, but I think they kind of cancel each other just and when you look on the top of things.
Adam, Mike White during that last time out telling his team, everything that I told you in the locker room, everything that I told you during film session, completely forget it all. I want you to pay attention to me right now. He said those freshmen out there, they're getting ready to score 135 points on you. You are faster, you are stronger. They're especially worried about Jared Harper.
Harper has hit a 3, Purifoy's hit a 3, and now Dunnins, Chris, has hit another 3. We did see a rare sight as Canyon Barry missed a free throw at the other end, ending his school record stretch at 42 consecutive. And right now it's a 6-point Auburn lead, and Florida continues to struggle with handling the basketball on the road.
Yeah, spacing hasn't been good. They've not been sure of themselves. Interesting what Chris said that Mike White said in the timeout. And this is a theme for different coaches playing against young teams. Yep. We saw that Arkansas went to Kentucky. Mike Anderson spent most of the shoot-around telling his veteran team that, hey, we're playing young guys and you got to get after them.
Keith Stone just committed a foul for Florida, and it's the second time that an Auburn Tiger will head to the free throw line for 3 free throws.
Yeah, you're late to the shot line and then you jump body into body. Not smart, not wise. Mike White told us at shoot-around today, Adam. He said, hey, it might be different players in different minutes because guys will be coming in and out if they're not ready to play tonight.
TJ Lang, who did not play at Ole Miss and actually ended up losing his rotation spot for a little while, is in the action now. Pretty much does all of his damage from behind the three-point line over the course of this junior campaign. He's been dealing with the flu a little bit as of late, so his absence has been noticed. Makes 2 of 3 to give Auburn its largest lead at 8. Gioza, Barry, Leon, Kavarius Hayes, as well as Eric Hester playing in just his 16th game this season.
And Auburn has been able to stay defensively man-to-man. not had to get out of it. They have bothered this Florida team. Florida standing around too much on the offensive end.
And Chiozza with a very difficult shot, well defended by Bryce Brown, who comes back the other way for the Tigers. Ronnie Johnson, the grad transfer, on the floor as well. Dunnins, McLemore, and Lang make up the rest of the five.
And you got to be careful. Bryce Brown in the lineup, another outstanding shooter who's shooting the ball well now. Was really good last year as a freshman. Struggled most of this season. Last 3 games, he shot it well.
Barry. This might be a night where Canyon Barry has to take over. He's got 8 for Florida so far. And it's been different guys offensively this season. This is the team in Florida that's 4th in the league in scoring, but they don't have a single top 20 scorer in the conference. So it has been multiple guys.
And they don't have a guy that every night is probably capable of getting 20, but they can share the ball extremely well. And they've done it. But I think this Auburn team has come well prepared, handling it offensively. And Florida fighting for opportunities.
So Canyon Barry draws the foul. TJ Lang picks up his first. He and Dunnins both ended up sandwiching Barry. I kind of look at the replay. I think it might have, maybe should have been on Dunnins.
A smart play by Barry, but he shouldn't have got to the ball as far in as he jumped.
And indeed, TJ Lang did reach in and make the contact with Barry first. So as we mentioned, Barry's Florida record did end his last trip to the foul line at 42 straight free throws. Ends up being the 6th best run in SEC history, tying Jim Master of Kentucky back in 1980. Brenton Williams of South Carolina a couple of years ago has the record at 50 straight.
And Barry off to an aggressive start, and it almost looks like he feels he has to be. His team's not in it offensively. Defensively, they're scrambling, and Auburn getting open looks.
Lang again got a decent one. Kept alive by Wiley. Back to a 7-point Tigers lead. It is Barry with a quick trigger for 3. His second triple already. And he's got 13 of the Florida 20. Off to a rocketing start is Canyon Barry.
Wow, confidence, and Auburn is giving him open looks. They've got to close it in a hurry.
I would tend to agree with you. There's not a ton of guys that can just go off for 20 on this team, but it's what makes it a little tough to defend them because you don't know who's going to be the guy on any given night.
Wow, tough call on Chiozza.
Yep, first one on him.
Bounce pass to Wiley, the 7-footer, as he rolls, and Chiozza stepped right in there. Looked like he had a clean steal.
He's second on this team in steals this year. Team that is second right behind South Carolina in the SEC for steals per game with 8.
Ronnie Johnson in the lineup for Auburn. Watch him quick, left-handed, likes to cross over, can attack.
There is Heron, the leading scorer, to Johnson. Right on cue.
Yeah, he's that, I've called him before, kind of like an NBA veteran. He's going to get X amount of minutes, and when he comes in, he wants to be productive for those minutes.
Chiozza took some contact and still did an excellent job of maneuvering his way to the rim. Nobody picked up Johnson in transition. Back-to-back trays for the grad transfer from Indianapolis, and Mike White calls timeout.
Canyon Barry got caught in no man's land. He's trying to get back defensively, and when you have a guy like Ronnie Johnson, again, comes in the lineup, can run the show. But look at this, a wide open look there, and when he comes back down the second time, you better pick him up. He's looking to score.
That's what I like about you. The way you do what you do, how you do.
Bruce Pearl, as per usual, intense in the huddle. His team is up by 8, and tonight he is wired for South.
TD, stay up on that. Just stay up on that. Stay up on that because he helped out. But letting us run whatever we want. Letting us run whatever we want. Execute it. Watch that throwback to the 4, man. Step out high and wide on that throwback to the 4. Reverse. Reverse it. He was wide open. LaRon. Did you see how open he was? wide open on 5 across.
One thing we've noticed the last couple of weeks, and obviously when you have a 23-point lead in the second half and you lose a game, execution needs to be more on point. That was something Bruce Pearl really preached to his team. So execution early is going to be something he's watching for.
Yeah, and you know, Bruce Pearl's an emotional guy. He's got a team that can flat out shoot it and stretch defenses. And because it's a young team and they get off to good starts at times, he said, you know, we're pretty good at scoring early and then maybe after early, but we don't make teams work hard enough defensively once we get a lead. But they're young. And he likes his squad. I mean, this is a team that's full of big-time scorers. And most teams that walk in here or that prepare defensively for him are all a little bit nervous. Good pass.
Underneath, Egbunu with his second dunk. He had 76 of those a year ago.
First time Auburn went into a half-court zone defense, and the Gators just chewed it up.
There is Brown at the last moment. Got it to Wiley. And very good Auburn execution to go back up by 8. Chris?
Adam, during that timeout, Mike White absolutely livid, saying there's only one person on this team that showed up today, and that's Kenyon Berries. And I don't know where the rest of you guys have gone, but if you want to win an SEC championship, it's in front of us. You need to get on each other and be accountable.
Berry has been the one that's gotten off to the hot start with 13. A second TJ Lang foul will send John Egbunu to the free throw line.
And rare are opportunities to win a conference championship, right? And so it sits in front of them. They got a tough schedule.
Don't forget that tonight begins the stretch of 4 of the final 6 for Florida going on the road. They've got to go to Mississippi State this weekend. They still have to go to Kentucky and to Vanderbilt.
And think of this league. You travel to Auburn, and we know now Auburn's not a great team, but they've got 16 wins. I mean, they've been impressive. They win at TCU. They beat Texas Tech. They got 5 conference wins. This is not an easy place anymore. Bruce Pearl has built a pretty special deal. Then you go to Mississippi State, another young squad, talented, and can score in bunches, led by Q Weatherspoon. You take a look, you get South Carolina at home. That's a fight. You go to Kentucky. They're looking for a rematch. This Florida team beat them by 22.
Yep.
You're going to have Arkansas, a team that's scratching to stay inside that bubble, right, at that point. And then you go to Vanderbilt, a team that's beaten us. So a tough schedule lined up for this Florida squad.
There is currently a clock issue, and that's what the officials have gone over to the scorer's table to check out. It might be their belt packs that control the clocks as well. You know, you were talking about it, Arkansas trying to stay inside of that bubble. Right now, they're part of the last 4 in for Joe Lunardi, who also, in his daily email to us today, said if Tennessee wins to sweep the season series against Kentucky, and granted they're in Lexington tonight, they would get into the field as of right now. And, of course, Florida, Kentucky, South Carolina heartily in right now.
Adam, you mentioned when we showed the standings earlier, the bunched up middle of this league. They're all kind of pounding on each other.
Yep.
And it's tough to... You've got to win games to separate yourself. And Arkansas is a team, they lost at Missouri, then they got blown out at home against Vanderbilt. They were down at halftime at LSU on Saturday. Righted the ship, got better in the second half. They won that game, and it was almost a must-win at that point.
The issue with the belt packs has seemingly been solved. So back to the line goes John Egbunu. Coming off his first double-double this year. I was a little surprised to see that it was his first. 11 points, 10 rebounds against Texas A&M. He knocks down both free throws. Just a 55% shooter on the season.
And his big body was key against the big bodies of Texas A&M. That is a tall, physical team, especially when they played that zone defense. Florida's not a big team, but Egbunu played 32 minutes in that one.
It's Berry out on Brown. That excellent shooter. He'll still trigger. He'll touch every part of the iron. And on the rebound action, Mike Nance will call the foul on the floor against Florida. Will be the second on Chiozza.
I mentioned Bryce Brown earlier. He has struggled so much this season. The last 3 ball games, 11 of 15 3. It has changed his game. He's more energetic on the defensive end. He's been better tonight offensively off the dribble. That one to a shooter that's hot, that goes in and out as though it's good.
Yep.
I mean, as a shooter, you're thinking, okay, That was halfway down.
You have to look at it that way,
He's
right?
confident, yeah. And if he's got Barry on him, Bryce Brown will try to be aggressive off the dribble.
Wait, Austin Wiley is jumping up and down, clapping his hands. He wanted to look at the rim. Aaron on the deck. Pitch to Purifoy, a three. Left that one short. Loose on the deck. Good fight by Brown, but into the hands of Casey Hill. And here comes Florida on the run. Barry will take it into the paint. Good deterrence by Wiley, but because Wiley came over to deter, that left Egbunu space.
Yeah, they're still not getting to Kenyon Barry quickly enough. And when they got there late, he put on the floor, got right to the paint.
Tough flip by Johnson, and then Egbunu made contact with Wiley. The foul is called against Wiley, his second.
Mike White said he's had one guy that showed up, especially on the offensive end, and Barry's been aggressive. And because of his aggressiveness, Egbunu gets an easy one, an easy putback.
Purifoy, Lang, and now Wiley all have 2 personal fouls, and Egbunu will go back to the stripe for 1-1.
Adam, think of this. Auburn's a team that loves to get up and down, especially in this building. They've got freedom shooters. They spot up. They attack off the dribble. Florida loves that pace. When you got Chosen, a guy like Hill and Allen, who we really haven't even talked about Kayvon Allen. He hasn't been part of the offensive any plays. But Florida likes that open air game, too, to get up and down, to attack. They don't have to set up a half-court offense. And slowly but surely, Florida's now clawed their way back in this game.
Trailed by as many as 8. Back within 3. Egbunu in his second year, playing after the transfer from USF. And he has scored the last 8 Florida points.
And you were not surprised when the seedings came out last weekend of Florida being a number 3 seed.
Not at all, and I think I'm with you on this. I think they've been the most consistent of the 3 ranked SEC teams. Very difficult try by Heron, nearly went down, and then at the back end of the play, Egbunu is very slow to get up.
And I thought when he first went down on the corner of my eye, I thought he grabbed his right knee. I'm hoping not. I thought he grabbed his right kneecap, and I don't know if he collided knees or what. Let's hope he's okay.
Clearly felt something on the landing.
Left one.
He seems to be in some pain. Earlier in the season, he had a lingering hamstring issue. And remember last year, Florida had to work their final couple of games in the NIT without him because he had a thumb injury, which was forced to shut him down.
Well, big concern because this Florida team is not a big squad. And Egbunu just keeps getting better and better. Let's hope he's okay. It's a slow walk-off.
Mike White, head coach of the Florida Gators, had to come over and help him to the bench. That is a big concern right now for Florida.
When Hayes comes in, Hayes is a couple of inches shorter, about 35 pounds lighter. But what this does now for Florida, Leon's got to be more aggressive on both ends of the floor. Robinson's got to be more aggressive, especially defensive rebound.
There is Allen. Leading scorer has not gotten on the board just yet. Here is Bryce Brown for 3. In and out. Couple of good looks that had not gone down. And then on the interior, there was Leon going down to the deck with some LaRon Smith contact.
There's not a lot of hesitation in this Auburn squad.
No, not at all.
Pushing, attacking, and taking the first open look.
There's a lot of young guys, but Bruce Pearl has empowered them to do such things over the course of the season. Still 1-1 for Florida here, and it's Leon who's been very sharp his last couple of games. He's only scored in double figures 6 times this year. 2 of those 6 have come in back-to-back games.
I think what he has done with his offensive game, spot up 3 shooter at 42%, stretches defenses out, and no one probably 3 years ago would have ever thought he would be that kind of player. But he's developed that set shot, little jump shot when he's open. Very valuable piece to this Gator squad.
After the Tigers led by 8, Florida has made an 8-0 run to tie this game up for the first time tonight.
Got to stay in front of Harper so quick.
Well, he was looking for Smith, who got caught up with Leon. Leon back the other way, has space for 3. And the first Florida lead of the night. An 11-0 run. And the Florida Gators have come racing back, forcing an Auburn timeout.
And leadership comes with Casey Hill running the break, knowing where teammates are and where they should receive the ball and when. He let Leon gather himself. He didn't give it too early, so Leon had to put it on the floor. Spot up, we just talked about it. He is deadly when he gets his feet set. The recognition to the teammate on the assist. This Florida team on a roll. A little happier timeout now for Mike White.
Well, a couple of nights from now, Women's Hoops takes over the SEC network. 2 good ones. We've got Vanderbilt going on the road to take on South Carolina. Auburn will battle Ole Miss. Both games available on the ESPN app. And watch ESPN. I thought South Carolina gave UConn a very good run for 3 quarters, but give credit to Nafisa Collier and Gabby Williams. They played a fantastic game for UConn last night to allow the Huskies to win their 100th in a row. That is incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible.
9 to play first half, and Florida on top for the first time tonight. Florida playing as a top 15 team for the first time since the 14-15 season. Oh, he's so quick. Is Harper. Got it to go, plus the foul, and he'll have a chance to tie it up.
Great move by Harper. Almost like a continuation. I thought he got fouled right out top. There was the reach. Gave one more step in the finish. Another young guy, a freshman, 5'10", they list him. Speed, quickness, puts it on the defense. Bruce Pearl, good response.
Harper, as we said, has been struggling a bit as of late, but he is this team's double-figure score, one of 3 of them. Second leading scorer for the Tigers. Allen still has not scored. He's Florida's leading point getter. Hayes nearly had it stripped. Recovered, recoiled, went up, and got fouled. And I believe that might be the 3rd on TJ Lang.
Now that Dunnins had the steal. He couldn't come up with it. As the bounce, it looked like he had it there, and give Hayes credit, stayed with it. A little bit of contact there, goes to the foul line.
It is double bonus, by the way, the rest of the way for the Florida Gators here in the first half. I just think it's interesting that we bring that up because what the NIT is going to do when we get there, potentially with the foul rule, shifting it and resetting it once we get to the 10-minute mark of the half. So essentially playing quarters, experimental once we get to the postseason.
And I think that will be a change coming soon.
You think we'll go to quarters?
I think they will.
Women's game seems to like it.
International game, the NBA game.
Wow, look at this. Hill all the way to the other end of the floor and opted to pass it instead of laying it up. And here is Dunnins. Thought about it and just missed. This is what Florida likes to do, push the pace. This time Hill takes it on his own for his first points.
Good call, partner. Last time I thought he should have laid it in also. Veteran player, smart. Knew he made a mistake last time. But high octane, this Florida team. They put so much pressure on the defense.
Well, we played, what, 12.5 minutes? We've put up 72 points in this game so far. 2 of the higher scoring teams in the league. Wiley with position. Stripped on the backhand by Devin Robinson.
Came from the weak side. Good help.
Offensive foul, though. Yeah, I thought Dunnins did a good job of beating Allen to the spot and kind of forced Allen into having to use his arms for the push-up. Casey Hill had a rough game against Texas A&M. He just scored 3 points. He had 5 turnovers, but we know he can score. We saw it against Kentucky. Those were 2 big ones for Florida. Florida had to play a lot of its non-conference games in various spots in Florida until finally they opened up Exact Tech Arena at the renovated O'Connell Center. Put up 19 three-pointers in a 106-71 win over LSU. Chris Chiozza has one of the 21 triple-doubles put up in college basketball this year. The first by a Gator since Nick Calathis. And then maybe the biggest win of the season for Florida, 22-point drubbing against Kentucky. We know how good this team is offensively. Defensively, I think they're a lot better than people realize. They've held 24 of 25 teams that they've played to under their season scoring average. So, partner, I'll tell you this right now. Auburn averages 80. They've got 34 at the 7-12 mark. That's the type of first half we've gotten to see. It's been played at a 12-point window.
Adam, this is a team that when they came in this season, the questions weren't on the defensive end. They knew they could be quick. They knew they could be solid. They thought they could rebound. It was offensively. Could they score enough? Could they shoot the ball better than they did a year ago when they struggled beyond the three-point line, when they struggled from the free throw line? All their numbers are up. All their averages are up. They have climbed up in the rankings of the SEC, and that's why they're the top.
Rebounded by Robinson. Chris Budden, right now, Skylar Rimmer, the walk-on, has to play at the 5 position. Why is that?
Adam, John Bigno tried going into the tunnel, tried jumping on that injured left knee. He was still having some pain. He did go into the locker room under his own power. They're looking at it right now, and as soon as I get more information, I will let you guys know.
Thank you very much, KB. Rimmer has had some good minutes this season, a walk-on in his second year after transferring from Stanford.
Adam, with Egbunu out, what has happened? Robinson's been more aggressive. Leon's been more aggressive around the rim defensively.
Wiley tried to save it, as did Dunnins, and it will go to Florida.
And it almost looks like Casey Hill intentionally has turned up the heat offensively to push it. They don't have Egbunu in there, so let's move it. We've got 4 or 5 guys that can run.
Oh, DJ Dunnins.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, well, you know what? How about this? Oh, gives her on. That's great. Well done, young man. The senior from Atlanta. That's what that's how you and I act before the game. Just hugs all around.
It's an emotional. Before we start, it's an emotional night.
Robinson had space for the floater, and then Anthony Jordan called a foul. Well, Robinson now picks up his second. Robinson, Allen, and Chiozza for Florida, and Purifoy, Lang, and Wiley all have 2+ fouls. It's Lang that has the 3. Both teams in the double bonus the rest of the way. We've got LSU at Ole Miss later on tonight. Might be a while before we get there based on the pace and flow of this first half. And it's not a bad thing. We're not complaining because we like the offense.
It's entertaining, and we thought it would be. Neither coach is going to walk the ball up. Both coaches at shoot-arounds today wanted their teams to be aggressive.
Yep. That's what we've certainly seen in the first near 14 full minutes of this game.
Keith Stone back in the lineup, the redshirt freshman. I know they're going to have to be aggressive on the defensive end.
Just thinking the same thing. Berry, Stone, Rimmer, Hill, and Leon. Here is Berry, a toe on the tape, 2. Kenyon Berry picks up where he left off. He's got 15.
Solid screen and no help when Berry came off the dribble.
Dunnins, McLemore, Harper, Smith, and Brown, the 5 out there for the Tigers, and a traveling violation on TJ Dunnins. Kenyon Berry's been really good shooting the basketball in his last 6 games after missing a couple with an ankle injury.
And if you don't come out early, and McLemore does not come out early, and Berry's confident from the tip tonight, he's going to burn you. And next time if McLemore steps out, Berry probably try to cross him over and go. He's very aggressive, 15 points on the net.
Berry's got Brown on him again. Hill looking for that backdoor cut. That's the right idea, but the pass from Hill may be a little too low.
He threw the in-between. He thought about a bounce pass or a chest pass and threw it right at the feet. Had him. Kenyon Berry, they both kind of smiled at each other.
Hill's got 3 turnovers last couple of games. It's been a factor. Really struggled against A&M. Herron taking it inside aggressively, and he'll get a couple of free throws out of it. about this? We've got 76 points in 14 and a half minutes, and neither team's leading scorer has put up a point.
This is why Mustafa Heron is such a great talent on the offensive end. We have a lot of guys in this league, especially freshmen, that can either A, take it off the dribble only, or B, that can only just spot up and shoot. Heron is a physical guard, 6'5", 215. Can knock in threes at 43%. Great free throw shooter at 77%. Averages over 15 a game. Every game this season, he has been in double figures, all 25 games. He can attack you. His body is strong. Defenders don't like to body him because he physically will get into your chest. He is going to be a star in this league.
First 5-star recruit to sign with the Auburn Tigers, who are back within 2. Approaching 5 minutes to play in the first.
Casey Hill has to be careful because Ronnie Johnson has quick, great hands on the defensive end.
Bryce Brown was on the defense again against Barry, and he'll send the excellent free throw shooter to the line. Just a little reach in, contact on the forearms. Barry has missed a free throw tonight, a rare miss, his first one since January the 7th against Tennessee, but a 90% shooter to lead the SEC, the grad transfer from the College of Charleston, outstanding student, and he was a question mark. I was talking to some folks in Orlando on radio today, and they were asking, are you surprised by what Florida's done? I said, I don't really think anybody should be. I think the surprise might be Barry, if only because he was one of the few question marks offensively as to what Mike White was going to have. He's answered any question.
Yeah, he was the guy. How do you fit in? Do you fit in? You're going to a bigger environment, bigger school. Will he be received by teammates? And slowly but surely, when they know you can play and know you can help the team, guys become very hospitable. What a pass. What a finish.
Bryce Brown on the beautiful feed to LaRon Smith for the first bucket in 4 minutes for Auburn. Backdoor Barry reversed it in. That is a beautiful feed by Hill. They connect cleanly that time.
And a call from the sideline as they were going up the floor. Someone on the bench saw something and they called it out, and an easy backdoor cut. Good finish by Barry.
That is the quickness of Johnson you were talking about, but neither he nor McLemore could connect. It'll stay at this end of the floor.
Well, I tell you what, throw it anywhere in the building. And Auburn has guys that can go up and absolutely finish.
That was pretty from Brown to Smith. Smith has gone back into the rotation with that injury to Horace Spencer. He had been out of the rotation for a handful of games. Heron's got Robinson on him, and now Leon on the switch. Heron inside, no. Tipped a line by Smith, wave out the basket. There will be a foul against Auburn. It was against Smith, who apparently may have pushed off to try to gain space on that rebound action.
Another active body, has not played a lot this season. 14 minutes against Ole Miss. But because of injuries and watch, there's the first tip, and now Holden on the downside.
I think maybe he got tangled up, and he and Hayes were kind of battling a little bit. And Bruce Pearl's reaction should not surprise anybody. So that sends Hayes to the free throw line. A 68% shooter on the year, and he's got his second point of the evening. Robinson will get a breather.
Adam, you can see already, though, without Egbunu in there, if this Florida team does not put body on body and block out a little bit further away, this is an active Auburn squad that will pound on that offensive glass. And if Bruce Pearl can get his way, continue to work the officials a little by little, they may not be as active with that whistle.
Florida now has its largest lead at 6 inside of 4 to play in the first.
Interchangeable parts on Florida defensively. They can switch a lot of the dribble handoff.
Like no one could snare the defensive rebound, and Purifoy is able to get the bucket. He's got double figures and a couple of boards. 4-point game. Entertaining first half. Hill steps in over Brown. Casey Hill has 4.
Well, taken with confidence. That's not his strength. He will go hot and cold. He is not a great outside shooter, but he can make them. That time he did not rush it. He knew the shot clock was winding down. Good delivery.
They had a mismatch with McLemore rolling against a smaller player. Hayes was the one who recovered and then came over to defend against Herron. Excellent job on defense. Berry wide to the left, and here comes Auburn. Herron was trying to draw a foul on Eric Hester, who has to recover on Johnson. And Johnson just blew by him. That was the speed of the wily veteran Ronnie Johnson.
He checked in, and he's checking for a bucket.
Yep.
He is aggressive and attacker. Brown guarding Berry's got to give him some space and not get caught reaching.
Traveling.
Yep.
2:18 to play. That'll take us to a timeout on the floor. But Hill and Berry have been trying to get on the same page tonight. This was 2 of Berry's game-high 19 to lead the way tonight for a 4-point lead for Florida on the road.
Coming up, SEC Halftime Report, Pat Bradley, Peter Burns, Tony Delk. We got a little Valentine's Day surprise for you. Also a Toomer's Corner update. But T. Delk, what are you seeing down there?
Auburn has to do a better job of containing Florida off the bounce.
And 26 bench points for Florida right now. Auburn's second unit's got to do the same. Match them.
Let's get it back down to John Sullivan and my crush, Adam Amin.
My favorite Valentines that just happen to be in the studio right now. Boys, we'll talk to you at 2:18 of game time. And thus far, high octane, high pace. Auburn had the early 8-point lead. Florida has since at a point taken a 6-point lead in this first half.
You know, good pace back and forth. Both teams being aggressive. A lot of points for this first half, but not unexpected. Both teams like to score, like to push.
3rd and 4th in the league. Auburn and Florida respectively in scoring in the SEC.
Surprising part is Canyon Berry has really just taken over the offensive end with 19 for this Florida squad.
Johnson to Purifoy with Dunnins and Herron and McLemore. Dunnins rejected by Hayes. Still 10 to shoot. Johnson too strong. McLemore was able to score the rebound.
I think they've got Hayes backing up into it.
I was wondering if it was McLemore or Hayes, and it is Kavarius Hayes for the foul.
Hayes coming weak side, makes a good block. But it's the speed and quickness of this Auburn team that makes a defense still have to adjust and help, and you don't get in position to rebound.
Here is McLemore. The 60% free throw shooter on this season. Some more articles were written about McLemore this week. It's a story that has been told but continues to fascinate. Kid who had a 1670 on his SAT, was accepted into MIT. He had offers to play in the Ivy League. But an opportunity to play basketball here and still get a really good education was enough to get him to Auburn. Parents very focused on academics, as is he. Incredible story. Robinson for 3. Berry with the offensive rebound. Slithered around McLemore, no. Rebounded by Herron. Here come the running Tigers. A good job to get back in transition by Florida. But Smith found space, and he'll find a couple of free throws.
And it's the ability of Johnson to go off the bounce. And you get back defensively, and right when you relax, and it's though you feel like you've got Auburn caged up a little bit. They're explosive enough, their guard core, that they just put pressure on a defensive team.
Push shot from LaRon Smith at the foul line. Grad transfer from Bethune-Cookman. Stone comes in for Hayes, who has picked up a second foul. Remember, as Chris Budden told us, John Agbunu was having trouble working out that left knee. The knee that he landed awkwardly on earlier in the half. Dunnins with the offensive rebound and 2 to tie the game at 48. A minute 20 to go in the first. McLemore the block. Dunnins wants it for the lead. And now Leon slow to get up after the play. Auburn with its first lead since the 9:29 mark.
A block defensively. Barry maybe trying to do a little too much now, Adam. And when they attack, Dunnins, the old man of this squad, the senior, surrounded by a bunch of freshmen. But Dunnins can get his in a hurry.
So now Auburn has answered with an 8-0 run. Lob from Hill for Robinson. A big time two. And these teams have combined for a hundo in the first.
Where did he come from?
Wow. Elevation, extension from Devin Robinson.
Johnson will like this matchup right there.
Against Leon. Broke him down, flipped it up. Robinson tipped it alive for Leon, and here comes Florida. They can shoot for the lead going into halftime. In what has been a back and forth, high pace, high octane first 20. It is Hill for three. Way off target. Dunnins the rebound. He'll launch at the buzzer. And if you like offense, you came to the right spot of the plains tonight. Florida on the road, taking on Auburn, and a 50-50 first half tie. Let's go to Chris Budden with Bruce Pearl.
Coach, your team got out to such a fast start. What were you guys able to do offensively to sustain that lead?
We were able to run whatever we wanted to run, which was good. Now in the second half, we've got to go inside. I don't know about Bunu if he's hurt. We got to go inside to Austin Wiley, and let's see what we can do in the second half as far as our defense is concerned. But inside's where we're going to go. You've had some leads in the second half that you've let slip the last few games. What do you tell this group of young guys in this halftime? Hey, I'm proud of them for being in the game right now, and we're 20 minutes away from upsetting a great basketball team. That's what I'm going to tell them. Appreciate it. Good luck. Thanks, Chris.
Devin Robinson had just 5 points in that first half, but the recipient of a bring the house down type of assist from Casey Hill, who had 5 dishes in that first half, all part of a 50-50 halftime tie. Tony Delk, Pat Bradley with Peter Burns in the studio. Boys, it's all yours.
All right, thank you, Adam Amin.
You have to go back to the SEC tournament in 2009. Well, watch out that the Auburn Tigers knocked off the Florida Gators. They have lost 9 in a row to Florida, but an intense, high-pace, high-octane, back-and-forth first half that draws at a 50-50 tie. Adam Amin, John Sunvold, Chris Budden in a moment as well. I don't think anybody should be surprised by the level of intensity with which Auburn has played.
Well, not in this building, and really anywhere. This is an athletic team. They're young, they're fresh, they attack. They've lost some close games by not playing well in the second half. But Mike White worried about this Auburn squad that can space you out and make shots in a wide variety of guys. And so it doesn't matter if it's the starters or guys like Ronnie Johnson right there coming in off the bench. Wide variety. They hit 5 threes. And if you're on Florida squad, it's really been the Canyon Berry show in the first half. 19 points in a variety of moves. He hit 7 out of 8 free throws. He had a couple three-pointers. He attacked the rim. We'll see if the Gators can help out Canyon Berry this second half on the offensive end.
Now, John Ekbunu had 10 points and 4 rebounds, but his status up in the air. For more, we head over to Chris Budden.
Yeah, he's going to be done with the game for the with the left knee injury. So it said Kavaris White will need to play some more minutes. But Coach White right now just really concerned about his team's foul trouble. He said during that halftime, they went and looked at film of every single field goal that Auburn made and every single foul that they made on the other end. He said, I wanted to remind my guys, we're not guarding anybody right now, and you have to stay out of foul trouble.
13 Florida fouls, 12 Auburn fouls. They combined for 35 free throw attempts in that first half. And a 50-50 score. Auburn trying to pull off the upset against Florida, a team they have not beaten in nearly 7, make that 8 full years.
Great back door.
Barry picks up right where he left off. He's got 21.
Set play from the first possession. Hayes with a ball fake, the backdoor cut, good pass, easy layup. And I go back to what Mike White said early in this game during the timeout that Chris reported on. If you want to win an SEC championship, you got to pick it up. You got to win on the road, especially here at Auburn.
Gators are 4-1 in the SEC on the road this year. Casey Hill, who had 5 assists in that first half. He is now, by the way, tied for 3rd all-time in assists in Florida Gator history.
Also had a couple turnovers. Now has 6 points. Good start for this Gator squad.
Dunnins off target. Hill the rebound. Florida running early. There is Hayes on the receiving end of a Hill delivery to put Florida on a 6-0 run to start this second half in a 64-second sprint. An excellent start. Canyon Berry off the back door, which worked a couple of times in the first half. Casey Hill, who needs to take over, and Kavarius Hayes filling in for the injured John Egbunu, has Florida on top by a half dozen. Auburn has had trouble in second halves over the course of SEC play. Florida needed a big second half to knock off Texas A&M in their last game. A 6-0 start here in the second half for the Gators.
And let's talk quickly. Maybe it's the maturity of one ball club and the youth of another. Halftime speeches. One coach is saying we've got to have it. The other one saying you got to give it to me. Florida has come out 3 easy baskets and attacked right when they could.
Sproul during that timeout upset that they're leaving the lane wide open. He was also not happy with their ball screen, said you need to call it early so that we can build a wall. But what he did right before they broke, he grabbed everyone around. He said, look at the score. If I had told you that we'd be down by 6 against the top team in the league, would you take it? Heck yeah, we'd take it.
And Heron comes out firing out of the timeout. Hill on the ricochet with the rebound.
Solid block out by 4 Gators in jerseys, and they are pushing and they are confident.
Chioza hits just his 19th three-pointer this season, and Florida has its largest lead at 9. Auburn getting punched in the first 2 minutes of this second half.
And where does Auburn go to get a bucket? A lot of times, again, Ronnie Johnson's a guy that can cause a lot of things when he's active off the dribble.
Aggressive take by Brown. Beautiful late feed to McLemore. First points of the second half for the Tigers. Berry, nice step back to get space against Heron. Slapped by Robinson. And Johnson unable to corral it cleanly. It'll be Florida basketball.
Adam, Florida is more aggressive. They're attacking even the offensive glass that time. Now, Auburn not putting any bodies defensively to block out. I think it was Robinson that kept the ball alive initially to maintain possession.
Mustafa Heron, who has scored double figures in every game this year, is the 9th leading scorer in the SEC. At 15 per game, has just 2, and he's just been pulled to the bench. Berry backdoor again.
And that is the 4th backdoor cut layup. No weak side help. Defense overplaying. Berry read it perfectly, as did Casey Hill, right on the money again.
Really good timing for Florida's offense on those backdoor cuts. Purifoy, tough step back.
Tough shot, good defense by Chioza. Well, take a look at how this is set up. They understand where the defense is going to overplay. They've already cleared out the backside.
Yes.
By getting Robinson out of the way.
That's an important thing. They've kind of isolated Hill and Berry on one side of the floor together to allow that space. Keep an eye on that. If you're watching at home and looking for a little X's and O stuff to look for, see if Florida puts 2 jerseys, 0 and 24, on the same side of the floor together. 5-second violation, yes. Well defended by Dunnins on the inbound against Hill. 11 Florida turnovers, and to Auburn's credit, with such a high-paced game, just 6. Johnson seeking space, and Chioza will pick up his 3rd. Chio's has been such a factor in the last couple of weeks for this Florida team.
He's so good defensively. He's very calm offensively, how he runs things and plays, but defensively so good with his feet. Doesn't like the call on that position. Kayvon Allen comes in the game, and Allen is scoreless. The leading scorer for Florida, scoreless in this game.
Purifoy on the rebound is able to muscle through to draw a Casey Hill foul, his second.
And obviously, if there's concern for Mike White, it's the fact that fouls keep adding up.
So Hill's got a couple, Chio's got 3, Hayes has 2, Robinson has 2.
And Egbunu being out for the rest of the night with injury.
Well, Kentucky was taking it to Tennessee in the first half at home tonight. They'll be on the road next Tuesday. John and I will be there at 9 o'clock Eastern time when top 20 Wildcat Club goes into Columbia to take on the Missouri Tigers, a team that's won 2 of its last 3, by the way, and takes on Alabama tomorrow.
They host Alabama, and Alabama's got to keep winning. One of those teams that wants to be part of that bubble conversation. Missouri play obviously better at home, beating Arkansas, and then beating Vanderbilt on Saturday by 20.
Yeah, how about that? It was one thing to beat Vanderbilt, a team that we saw last week obliterate Arkansas, and to beat them by 20.
Outside of the Florida loss by Missouri at 39, they've had a lead in 6 or 7 games second half. They've shot the ball better in their 2 wins. Auburn very stagnant, Adam, the second half on the offensive end.
And a knockaway by Robinson. Florida on the push. Allen into Johnson, and a blocking foul on Ronnie Johnson called by Lee Cassell, to the chagrin of this crowd.
You know, not a lot of contact there, to be honest. Allen lost the ball going up.
And he sidestepped. Attempted to sidestep Ronnie Johnson.
Not too much contact. But again, Auburn, I think, is stagnant on the offensive end. They've got their standing, so back defensively, there's not a lot of rhythm defensively either.
First point of the night for Florida's leading scorer at 13 per game, Kayvon Allen, who has been struggling shooting the basketball the last several games, and a cold start tonight. And really, both benches have stepped up nicely, with both leading scorers having off nights offensively so far. Bruce Pearl wants some ball reversal, and he agrees with you, I think, that this offense is a little too stagnant.
Well, there is a focal point, and Bruce Pearl said it to Chris as he was leaving first half, that we're going to pound it inside. The difference this half is they're standing and just trying to throw it inside without movement of different players. So Florida can stand. If your guy stands, it's easy to defend. It'd be a weak side help when that ball is pounded inside to Wiley. They got a quick double team on him. There was a foul called, though.
It was the 3rd on Hayes, so I imagine Skylar Rimmer is sitting at the scorer's table to come in for the 3-foul sophomore. That will indeed be the case. Rimmer, who has only played in 15 of the 26 Florida games this year, is going to have to play some big minutes with Egbunu hurt and out, and now Hayes picking up his 3rd foul. See what the decision is when we get to the under 16 timeout, whether or not Rimmer is going to continue to play, but he'll have to play some minutes, you would think, in this second half.
3-quarter pressure, but it didn't bother this Florida team.
Robinson into traffic, and a foul is called. Austin Wiley will get tagged with his 3rd of the night. The Florida Gators with a hot start in the second, up by 9. Time now to see who's taking the next step. Brought to you by Regions Bank. Talk to me about some execution for Florida.
And look at the backdoor cuts. If defense is going to overplay the weak side, better understand it and be ready, and they've not been this Auburn team. And Kenyon Berry's had a nice night of faking outside, making a step, cutting back, 3 in a row.
23 points is Florida high for the grad transfer, is 27. His career high at the College of Charleston was 31. a capable scorer. One of 3 double-digit scorers on this Florida roster.
I'm kind of interested in this half. If Barry, they're going to have to focus on Barry. But can Kayvon Allen get open and then start his offense?
Bruce Pearl was wired for sound.
What's the back door right now on this timeout? What's the back door on the timeout?
Sure enough, that will be a focal point, I would imagine, the rest of the game. Robinson missed the second free throw and a foul on the rebounding action. Rimmer picks up his second. No surprise that if we noticed it, Bruce Pearl did as well. His Tigers are down by their largest deficit at 10. Brown. That was a much-needed 3 for Auburn, and I would imagine for Bryce Brown as well, his first.
Yeah, good stroke, and he can score and shoot it in bunches. Good push by Florida, wide open look for Robinson.
Answers right back to go up by 10.
This Florida team is in attack mode because of the quickness of their lead guards, and Casey Hill as fast as any in the country, especially putting pressure on the defense.
Yep.
And Bruce Pearl up on the sideline trying to get more movement, yelling at his guys to move.
And they ran a little pick and roll with Wiley. No real look for him. It was a good play by Brown to get it to Wiley, and a good follow by T.J. Dunnins, who's got 13.
Always must keep a body on Dunnins. Very active, aggressive at the rim.
Hill on the step back had 2 defenders guarding him. Barry into Wiley. Not a great look, and here comes Auburn. Johnson to Wiley. Wiley doing it at both ends, and he'll go to the free throw line off the 3rd Rimmer foul.
Adam, you can almost see it when you watch a game that when you get stagnant on one end, and Florida did on the last possession, doesn't usually result in a good shot, and then a team can push and attack. And we've seen it with Auburn being stagnant, that Florida gets out and runs. That last possession offensively was not a good one for this Gator squad.
Austin Wiley just joined this team in December after graduating from Calusa Prep in Miami. Has had some cold offensive nights the last couple of weeks. Remember in that Big 12 SEC Challenge, he put up a career-high 25. And in the last 4.5 games, he has scored a total of 33. And he misses both free throws here. Empty possession for Auburn, still down by 8. Lang is in, Harper is in. On the Auburn defensive side.
And Rimmer not a big offensive threat, and he has rolled a couple times. He's been open, but those teammates have not delivered to him. Rimmer might be able to surprise attack and step in and get a bucket.
He scored 20 points in 15 games this season. Robinson has hit 1 and another here in this half. He's got 3 threes on the night and a quick 7-point spurt in the second.
Smooth stroke, natural shooter.
The largest lead now 11. Wiley cuts into it with 2.
Wiley can be a force. I think he's had a terrific season, as you mentioned, coming out of high school in December to join this squad.
Allen, beautiful feed, and Rimmer was fouled.
And because Rimmer on the scouting report is not a guy that they say is going to score a lot of points, when he rolls, no one's really picked him up the last 3 possessions. That time Allen continued to go. The double team happened. Rimmer right there by the rim. Smart moves, got his hands up, ready to catch the ball.
First point for the senior from Orlando. Mustafa Heron, again, just 2 points for Auburn's leading scorer, comes in for Brown. Rimmer will come off, and Keith Stone at 6'8" will check back in. So a slightly smaller lineup out there.
And solid minutes and good minutes from Rimmer.
Very much so. Largest lead back up to 11 for Florida.
Well, half-court trap handled easily by Lang.
Into the paint and a blocking foul as T.J. Lang went careening inside.
And one of the reasons you put a little bit of a zone defense together is to prevent yourself from picking up fouls.
Stone stepped in to try to take the charge. Instead, he gets tagged with his third.
And what Mike White can't be happy about is when they went to the half-court little trap, Robinson and Kayvon Allen got split up top. T.J. Lang just went right by.
And there are some guys in this Auburn team, they're not going to do much offensively except go for the straight line drive. And that's got to be on the scouting report. And Mike White talked to us about that today. Saying, listen, I'm not going to tell you who necessarily, but there are some guys that need to know most of these players are going to do one thing, and you have to stop the one thing that they can do positively. Tough take by Kayvon Allen for his first field goal of the night.
He may jump start him offensively because he made an aggressive move, an attacking move.
Lang slid the pivot foot in a turnover.
Kayvon Allen has had a quiet night. Thank goodness his teammates have played well, but this guy can heat it up in a hurry. And when he's confident about his shot and the way he's playing on the offensive end, he can change it for himself and change it offensively for this Florida team.
Backdoor again. Good rotation for a step back. Lee on three.
How about the unselfish play? Skip pass, another skip pass, and Leon with a step back.
Largest lead at 14. Heron, they need it. In and out, and a foul on the interior.
I believe they got Keith Stone maybe on a late block out.
That will be his fourth as he made contact with McLemore. Now that is 17 fouls against Florida. So bonus for the final 12-17 of regulation. Hayes comes in. He's got 3 fouls as well. But he got a nice breather. Remember, he came out at the 16:04 mark before the media timeout. So a solid rest as Hayes will play crucial minutes for Florida with Ekunu out.
And here's the challenge and defensively, because of how Auburn pushes and may shoot long shots, there's a lot of long rebounds and loose balls, and so you pick up fouls. Good ball movement again.
That was an excellent possession and a great look, just didn't knock it down. Wow, look at the speed of Dunnins, and rejected by Hayes. Great follow by McLemore.
Yeah, McLemore so quick off his feet, it looked like Hayes made a great block. The Florida will get the ball.
Allen, an open three. Nobody picked him up in transition. The largest lead is 15.
And another good find by Casey Hill. That hit ahead.
10 assists now for Casey Hill. He's got a solid offensive night working. Harper, deep trigger. Lee on the rebound.
Look how Hill surveys. His head is up, eyes are up.
I saw a lot of him at Montverde Academy, and it was a very similar style of play, constantly with the head up. And you can see he's trying to direct guys going back and forth. It's an offensive foul against Florida, against Hayes, his fourth. But the Florida offense has jumped out to its largest lead at 15.
Great ball movement, unselfish play. This Florida team, second half, playing like a top 10 team.
Time now for our All-State Good Hands play. Good hands all night from Casey Hill with double-figure assists.
The leader on the floor, we talked about his vision. I love his pace of play tonight. You don't have to shoot the ball early, but it's good if you've got a lead guard that surveys and takes a look to see if something's there.
He has passed Eddie Shannon tonight with his 10 assists. He's 2 away from becoming just the 3rd ever Florida Gator with 500 assists. A 10-dime night for Casey Hill. came in second in the league, averaging 5 assists per game. He's doubled that tonight.
You know, he's had a great collegiate career. I know some expected more and bigger things, but he's had a great collegiate career.
127th career game in a Gator uniform tonight. Auburn down by 15, needing a spark on offense.
Good hands.
The spark on defense is Allen. With a very tough take, but a foul.
So how's the half change for Kayvon Allen? He's been aggressive. He's attacked. He's made a bucket, made a couple free throws, made a jump shot now with a steal and a push to the other end.
Kayvon, the sophomore from Little Rock, Arkansas.
I think back on the SEC opener when Florida traveled to Arkansas, which was really billed as the start of it was a huge game for both teams. And Florida went in there and played great. And Kayvon Allen went back home. He's from Little Rock. He had 21 points in that ball game and was solid. And it was really the stamp that this Florida team put on that they're here to try to compete for an SEC championship.
That was one of his 5 20-point games this season. Bruce Pearl just received a warning on the sidelines as Anthony Jordan, the official, came over as Pearl, I would imagine, is talking about some of the fouls.
And he's had a tendency to be outside the coach's box on these timeouts. He's going across half court and trying to challenge the officials, but really to motivate his kids. They had a terrific first half. In the second half, they've become a little stagnant. Again, they are playing one of the best teams in the country. Good pass down.
Bryce Brown finds Anthony McLemore, who's in a double figures tonight. It was tied at 50 apiece a quarter ago.
Two teams that average around the 80-point mark.
Aaron to McLemore with the two-hand flush on Rimmer. 8 in the second for McLemore. Good feed by Heron. And it's down to 13. Contact as Casey Hill was trying to drive. Auburn's going to need more of this.
You saw what Brown can do off the dribble. You know him as a jump shooter. And this will show you a little bit about the athletic ability of McLemore. Quick off the feet, powerful around the rim.
A Purifoy foul. A 13-point game. About a quarter of the way to go.
30-second timeout called by Florida.
A big game for this Florida Gator team, a team that's gone 4-1 on the road in SEC play. The only place they've gone to and lost in conference has been South Carolina this year. Adam Amin, John Sunvold, Chris Button is with us as well tonight. So three-way tie at the top of this league. Kentucky was demolishing Tennessee.
Impressive.
Very impressive. Yeah. I mean, it was a 25-point game, blowout in Lexington. But Kentucky, Florida, South Carolina, give me something that you want to see kind of improve for those three teams as we get into this final third of the SEC campaign.
Obviously, the game's going on like as ours is, but Kentucky, are they tough enough, physically tough enough? That's the challenge they had. Obviously, they handled Tennessee. South Carolina, we know they're good defensively. Can they maintain? Can Thornwell carry that squad offensively? It sometimes can have a lapse. And Florida, I think it's just the variety of guys they have that can score that gives them really the bonus of night in, night out. Some guy can carry them. And it doesn't have to be the same guy. Good pass inside.
Chris, Florida has 16 assists on 26 field goals today.
I talked to Justin Leon today, and during this 6-game win streak, right after that Vanderbilt loss, they got together, the players called a meeting, and afterwards they decided they're not going to be selfish anymore, that they don't care who's leading scorer each night. And so when you look at these last 6 games, there's been a different leading scorer every single night. And they said that's a testament to what they talked about during that player meeting.
And tonight it's been this guy, Canyon Barry, who now has 23, but a foul on Bryce Brown. They'll send him to the line for a couple of shots. During this 6-game run, the offense has had impressive nights, including a 106-point performance against LSU. But as we told you, they're 4th in the league in scoring, and they don't have a single top 20 scorer in this league. different guys, as Chris was saying, get it done just about every night.
It's a mature squad. They've been around. They've played together. Then you add a fifth-year transfer in Canyon Berry. Points per game are up. The scoring margin's up. You beat LSU by 35. You beat an Oklahoma team by 32. You beat a Kentucky team by 22.
So the top 5 of this league look like right now. And Florida with that big win over Kentucky. Remember, they still have to go to Lexington next Saturday. I'll have that game on ESPN Radio as Wiley puts it down.
And Florida's at the stage with players that you would think the bottom line what they want to do is win. And you'd like to say every team's that way. Well, when you have young players are sometimes selfishly worried about their minutes, their time, their stats. It's just the way it is. Florida's a squad that they went through it all last season, and it didn't end the way they wanted to end. Just because they didn't shoot the ball well, they didn't take care of business in some key games down the stretch. So these guys have all been through it. Now they're fighting for an SEC championship where they can leave their mark at their school.
Lang for 3. Good tap in by Heron. I think you bring up an interesting point. Remember, it was about this point last year when Florida went on a skid, and that probably took them out of the NCAA tournament conversation completely, because they lost 4 of their final 5 and ended up losing to Texas A&M in the SEC tournament, so they make the NIT. This is that stretch where they got to play 4 of 6 on the road before the SEC tournament.
You know, you mentioned A&M. This team reminds me a little bit of the A&M team a year ago.
Okay.
Again, they've got players that are going to play professionally somewhere. They've got a number of them. They've got a wide variety of offensive talent, much like A&M had a year ago with veteran players. They're solid defensively, much like that A&M squad was solid defensively.
Stone will pick up a foul, and that will be a 5th on Keith Stone to foul him out of the game. With 7:56 to play, but the Florida Gator offense has been red hot in the second half. Allen's picked it up, and Canyon Berry has a new Florida high with 28 points. So Florida has extended its lead all the way up to 19 tonight as we're under 8 minutes to go, and a new Florida season high for Canyon Berry with 28 points.
And thank goodness the first half he carried this Florida squad on the offensive end in a wide variety. Jump shots, put it on the floor. He attacked the rim, got to the free throw line. He carried this Gator team early, and as Mike White said in his timeouts that Chris told us, he was begging for teammates to go along with Berry.
8 of 16 from the floor tonight. Again, his career high going back to his College of Charleston days is 31. Canyon Berry carries a 4.0 GPA as an undergrad in physics and computer science, and came to Florida to join the grad program in nuclear engineering. The youngest son of Basketball Hall of Famer Rick Barry.
Let's go back to the maturity factor. Canyon Berry does what he needs to do, or his team needs him to do, night in, night out, right? Tonight he's got to score. He had to score early to keep this team going. But they have 4 or 5 of those guys on this squad that just do what the team needs them to do, not for their own individual statistics.
Nuclear engineering. Impressive stuff. Smarter than I.
So you're saying
you
you didn't head into the Valpo bookstore and check out those books? You say, I'm going to try this.
Valpo bookstore was lucky if I wandered in by accident. I did go in and buy a sweatshirt once from my mom, and I think that was about it.
Could you show me where the nuclear engineering books are? Not for you, son.
I called it nuclear more than anything. 92-75 here in Auburn. Inside 8 to play. Adam Amin, John Sunvold, Chris Budden. Glad you chose us on this Valentine's night. Good feed, but Robinson was too far underneath the rim. Possession kept alive. Good play by Heron, who had to try to step around Mike Nance to save it. It'll be 14 to shoot for the Florida Gators. breaking down the defense. Robinson comes flying in for the flush.
This team has 94 points. We got 7 minutes.
7:20. Wow. Ronnie Johnson, good finger roll. Now, again, there has not been a team that has scored above its season average in regulation against the Florida Gators, and Auburn will likely do that, barring a very drastic drought in the final 7 minutes. Good block by Wiley on Rimmer. But that being said, I think that's important to note for a Florida team, to know that they can win games like this. A good take by Jared Harper, a high-paced track meet. They have the ability to win games like this.
I'll find it interesting when we're now under 7 is I think it's easier for Florida to maintain the pace and to try to score early in their offensive sets against Auburn versus running offense.
Sure.
Take a look at Robinson and high fly. I mean, you understand what I'm saying. If they attack this Auburn team quickly, they seem to be getting easy shots.
Yeah.
When they have to run offense, this Auburn team sets in, makes it a little harder to score. And anytime you're on the road and you have a big lead and you try to protect it, it can backfire. Last night, West Virginia was protecting a lead at Kansas, and Kansas just put on a barrage at the end to get that to overtime to win.
I thought I saw something interesting. I was just watching the game, and a couple of folks that I follow on Twitter were talking about pressing a pressing team.
Yeah.
You always press a pressing team because they don't necessarily feel the comfort on the offensive end facing the press that they might on the defensive side. And I thought Kansas did an excellent job of turning up the heat against West Virginia.
And we'll see if Auburn wants to try to turn up the heat, because it's very difficult to do that to a Florida team that's got guards like these guys. I mean, I would think Chiozza and I would think Hill would relish the fact if a team wants to press them to try to get back in. I think they'll attack on the other end.
And Herron has not scored in single digits all season. He's been held so far to 5. Tonight after LSU Ole Miss, join our crew in the studio. SEC News of the Day discussed on SEC Now. They'll break down Kentucky's blowout win against Tennessee. Highlights of this one as well. A busy night in conference. Don't forget Mississippi State, Georgia. 2 teams sitting in the middle of that log jam in the SEC standings are squaring off tonight from Athens as well. Our friends down at the end of the table are all right. Wiley knocked it out of bounds. The defense by Johnson. Good recovery by Rimmer.
And more pressure so far by Auburn. See if they can apply it in a half-court defensive set.
I'll tell you this. We were talking about Kansas, West Virginia. No lead feels safe in college basketball. 14-point game with 2:43 to go. Smooth shot here by Chiozza. What a comeback last night at Allen Fieldhouse.
And there were many people at Allen Fieldhouse that were leaving the game.
And you don't hear it too often, but Dickie V was getting on the fans, and I think rightfully so. I mean, Kansas fans are typically so loyal, and that was a surprise to see a lot of them leave that early. I'll tell you, that'll be one of those nights where 50,000 people say that they were there for the comeback last night. Not even remotely close to that many were there, or for that matter, stuck around.
Yeah, Kansas positioned as a #1 seed, and if they were to be one, they would play in the Sprint Center in Kansas City, which would be like a home event for them.
Wiley's got 4 on him, sending Casey Hill to the stripe. Assists tonight.
I think of the game he had against Kentucky when the Wildcats went to Gainesville. 21 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. He made jump shots. He attacked that Kentucky defense and was never a game in that second half.
We told you about that LSU contest. during this excellent run by the Florida Gators. Trying to make it 7 consecutive wins, making it the longest streak under Mike White in his 2 seasons.
They hit 19 threes.
19, a school record in that game. And tonight they have added 11 threes on 18 attempts. Aaron way out there.
And for a team that everybody was concerned about at the start of the year, could they shoot the ball well enough?
Good effort by Heron. And Mustafa Heron will go to the free throw line. He is closing in on that double-figure mark.
No block out. Heron came from the weak side. We already talked about the strength of this freshman. 6'5", 215. Talented physically. Aggressive, can attack off the dribble. Solid jump shooter.
Very efficient game at Ole Miss the other night. He's got 9 points tonight. Now the full court applied by Auburn here. A feint of the trap by Jared Harper. Back off. Brown actually hit the deck and had to sprint back to make sure he's on top of Barry.
Mike White talked about floor balance. Shoot around today, offensively and defensively.
There have been some stagnant stretches on the offensive side for Florida, but for the most part, they've been very good. McLemore's got double figures in the second half. A 15-point game.
You know, it's interesting. 4.5 minutes. You get a couple more stops. You get it under 10 at some point.
Yep. That's the goal as McLemore commits the foul.
The tough part about when you play this Florida team, and I've already said it, Chiozza, who just got fouled because he's so quick with the basketball, how do you contain him? Casey Hill, so quick with a basketball. How do you contain him? They got 2 guards that can simply break down the defense. They're hard to trap. They're hard to guard one-on-one. You put any kind of full court pressure trapping, they go right through you and lay it in on the other end to a teammate, either themselves or a teammate.
Barry with his game high 30 to the bench.
The question for Florida, if they can go on and win this game, is how healthy is John Egbunu? A big piece for this Florida squad. 6'11", 255 pounds.
That will be very much a concern going forward. Kentucky has defeated Tennessee in blowout fashion tonight, as Robinson commits his 4th foul. So Kentucky to 11-2. Assuming Florida can close this one out, they would move to 11-2. And then South Carolina is at home tomorrow against Arkansas with a chance to keep pace with the 2 known powers of this conference. Jared Harper has 8 points. Alabama goes to Missouri tomorrow. That's a game you can't afford to lose if you're Alabama. Thursday, A&M and Vandy. And a key Saturday coming up in the SEC as well, because the top 3 teams are all on the road. Florida goes to Mississippi State, Kentucky to Athens, and then South Carolina to Vanderbilt.
Alabama looking a little bit for that consistency.
Yeah.
Kind of have a good game, bad game. You know, they kind of go back and forth.
There was a good stretch of games where they really played consistent for a strong stretch.
And they're in striking distance of being obviously a deep talk about the tournament.
Tough shot by Chiozza, and here comes Auburn. Watch Heron on the far side there. I'm sure he's going to want to trigger. But Brown has made some fancy looking passes. That one to the rim. Trying to find McLemore. A couple of shots on the other side. Florida trying to keep pace at the top. 3:43 away from a season best 7th straight win.
All right, coming after this game, about 9 minutes until the human double-double. Sebastian Saiz gets going against LSU Tigers. 17 double-doubles on the season, averaging 15 points a game. Let's get you back to the ending down there in Auburn. Back with Adam and John.
Boy, what a lengthy, impressive rebounder Sebastian is this year for Ole Miss. Man, right at the top of the rebounding charts in this conference.
What's always impressive about great rebounders, and when everybody plays Ole Miss, he is the focal point about keeping him off the boards, but he still gets them.
Yep.
Right? I mean, they try to double team him, triple team him. His energy is so high. He's just had an impressive year.
106 against LSU on the road, and 102 tonight on the Plains. First time they've had multiple 100-point road conference games in a single season. That 106-point effort, by the way, is the most that the Gators have ever scored in an SEC game in regulation. So they're closing in on some history additionally tonight as well.
You know, Mike White talked about it, and Chris hit it earlier in the game about the freedom that he has given this team to play. That he doesn't call a lot of plays, that he doesn't slow them down to make them set something up. And that freedom, along with the speed of what they have in the backcourt, produces nights like tonight.
Yeah, there were more concepts, less play calls during this stretch. I thought it was interesting when Chris asked about it earlier today. I was curious what Mike was going to talk about. What specifics was he really focused on? What was top of mind on the offensive end to see some of this in terms of the surge offensively? And sure enough, it was addition by subtraction in terms of the playbook.
And Bruce Pearl knows how good Florida is. And he looks at his squad and thinks this is where we'll be in a year or two. And my freshmen are sophomores, and a couple sophomores are juniors, and the recruiting class is coming in. There is a huge difference between having veteran players that have been around and understand what's going on versus having lots of freshmen. Growing pains when you're a freshman squad.
And some frustrations for Bruce Pearl tonight as well, as he gets tagged with a technical foul. I want to say it's when Heron was on the drive. And there was the rejection at one end of the floor. I wonder if maybe Bruce Pearl thought there should have been a foul. Allen misses. And 104 points on the night so far. Allen has had all of his in the second half for Mike White. Guy who's in his second season trying to get this team back to the NCAA tournament after missing out a couple of years. Remember, they were a Final Four team in Billy Donovan's penultimate season before having an under 500 year in Billy's last year. And then the NIT last season. They're in very good shape. I would call them a lock at this point. Just it's about seeding right now for a Florida team that would love to be a top 4 seed and certainly could contend for it.
A team that's matured throughout the season, and the addition of Barry, you go back on their schedule, lost by 5 to Gonzaga, played Duke extremely well in New York early in December. But I would think to a coach, the coaching staff and the players and the fans, they would not mind any matchup against a Gonzaga or a Duke. They feel they can play with anybody right now.
Yep. I brought this up with you earlier today, and I think Duke came in with a lot of expectation, and rightfully so, but it's always an unknown when you have any freshman class. Regardless of the talent level that's being infused, you don't know. You don't know what you're going to get. Who would you rather take now? I'm sure back when those two teams squared off at Madison Square Garden, you would have loved to take Duke no matter what. But right now, I would take Florida over a team like Duke.
Yeah, Duke's still trying to find themselves.
Yes.
They've had injuries. They've had, obviously, Coach K's been out, but he's back. They played well the other night.
Yeah, and they've gotten better. Don't get me wrong. They're playing much better now than they were earlier.
But they've still got a way to go to be consistently solid. This Florida team does not have a lot of weaknesses. A great defensive team and a team offensively that's got enough weapons and a variety of weapons that one of 3 or 4 guys can beat you on any given night.
Nice shot by Casey Hill. That is a new school record for SEC play for the Florida Gators. 108 points. 107 was the previous high, but that was a double overtime game. Tough foul by Dunnins. Good hard foul. 2 shots coming.
Good steal by Chiozza. Patience, waiting on his teammate Allen to join in.
His second personal.
So a historically good offensive night in conference play for the Florida Gators.
You can always tell Adam, mature teams don't get overly excited either.
Yeah.
You know, not a lot of jumping around and high-fiving. This is kind of a quiet squad. Not a very talkative group. Mike White has always talked about this team being more talkative on defense. They've got to communicate better, and they have during the season. But personality-wise, a bunch of quiet guys that just go about doing their business.
All 15 in the second half for Florida's leading scorer, Kayvon Allen.
Good pass.
Moore will go back to the line. We want to keep an eye on one thing in these final 2:09 is Mustafa Heron. If he scores another point, he'll keep that double-figure scoring streak alive. Remember, he has scored double figures in all 25 games to start a career, absolutely obliterating associate head coach Chuck Person's record. Second half for McLemore tonight. Auburn goes to Texas A&M on Saturday. They go to LSU on Tuesday. They still have Arkansas, Georgia, and Missouri to close out their season. And I certainly look at this team as a potential NIT team.
Yeah, I do too.
I think they'd be a tough assignment. I mean, it's short prep. When you find out who you're playing in the NIT, you might be playing a night or two later. This would be a tough assignment for anybody to play Auburn, a high-paced team, in a postseason situation.
Well, you and I have got to see him play, and we've seen opposing coaches try to prepare for this Auburn squad. And every opposing coach is nervous because of the offensive weapons that this Auburn team has.
Yep. Remember, they haven't made the NIT since 2009. So that is still a big milestone to try to pick up. Barry's off target. Good job by McLemore. Really like his effort in the second.
So quick off his feet and just goes over the top of everybody.
Foul on Heron. Again, when we are done, LSU and Ole Miss. Minute 22 away as Florida's rolling, and Canyon Berry is our player of the game, brought to you by Zaxby's. A 30-point night on 17 very efficient shots. Berry was 11 of 12 at the stripe. His school record of consecutive free throw makes stopped at 42 earlier tonight.
And we'll go back. It's not easy when you're a fifth-year transfer, graduate transfer, to fit in necessarily the squad. He's got leadership qualities that Mike White loves about him, but knew he had to kind of be quiet early, try to fit his way in. He does what is needed for his team. Some nights he has to score more, some nights less. Mike White appreciates Canyon Berry's high IQ of the basketball game and his leadership on the court.
Ryan Johnson for two. LSU Ole Miss is on the SEC alternate channel right now if you want to get an early start on that one. Ole Miss
1 minute remaining.
sitting at 6-6. They're battling for seeding. They entered tonight as a 6th seed, and right now are the 6th seed with Tennessee's loss to drop to 6-7 in conference play.
Another team in this league you really don't like to play, right? The middle of this pack has gotten so much better.
Yes. Hill for Hayes. Interesting exclamation point tonight for Hayes. 38.5 to go on a record-setting offensive night in conference play for Florida. Again, Heron still sitting at 9 points on a 2 of 12 shooting night. Egbunu will be a concern the rest of the way for the Florida Gators. How is that left knee going to hold up, especially as they go on this season-closing road swing, including tonight for the final 6 on the road for Mike White's crew?
Obviously the biggest concern.
Very much so.
How is Egbunu?
How is that left knee going to hold up as the Gators go forward, and they will score an SEC program record with 114 points, 7 in double figures, led by Canyon Berry's season high 30 points. Heron scores single digits for the first time all year in his freshman campaign. And the Florida Gators make it 10 in a row against the Auburn Tigers, and they've won their season best 7th game in a row. For John Sudbold, Chris Budd, and Adam Amin saying so long. Let's get you to Oxford, LSU, and Ole Miss.